So hello and welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while. Upload schedule's as consistent as Arsenal right now. Probably shouldn't say that, just won the FA Cup. But anyway, so I'm gonna be reacting to the Premier League predictions I made in like beginning season, August, whatever. So if you were one of the 13 people that saw my initial prediction video, I'd just like to apologize like in advance. Just watching it back, it was just like embarrassing prediction after embarrassing prediction. Like literally in the end of the video I said, "Congratulations to Arsenal fans, your team is good again," and the foreshadowing just hurts. I'm not like trying to make excuses, but just as a disclaimer, so like for that video, it was really just stat based. It's kind of really just looked at how teams finished last year, if they made good signings and all, and that was about it. Just there were a lot of more aspects I could have looked at and didn't really, so hopefully my predictions for this year, that'll be probably reasonably soon, right when the season's around the corner, so a few months, a little ways to go. So yeah, hopefully now I'll be able to kind of look at it in kind of better way, look at it and kind of, I don't know, maybe like say why I picked it that way. I noticed this kind of trend. I've been watching a lot of these Premier League prediction reaction videos, and my predictions, I don't know, I feel like, I mean, this is gonna sound really vague and I'll get more in depth to it because when I get to particular teams, I feel like it's similar to other ones in some ways and not similar. I know it sounds really vague, let's just get into it. I've been waffling enough. AFC Bournemouth, my prediction 12th, reality 18th. So this is what I mean. I've been watching them back and I feel like loads of YouTubers predicted them to finish mid-table. They did the season before this one. So that's what I mean. I kind of just finished, oh, they're mid-table. They signed Harry Wilson on loan. Oh, nothing could possibly go wrong. But you just have to think about Premier League. That's why Premier League is so hard to predict. Like if I went to like La Liga predictions, I would be like Real or Barca win, and then it's like Atletico, Valencia, and Sevilla. But Premier League, literally anything can happen. Like a few years ago, do you think anyone predicted Leicester to win the league? No. So yeah. So Bournemouth, quite rough for them. They just lost Eddie Howe, and they just lost Ake. So things turned for the worse really rapidly over the past few years. It is a shame after everything Eddie Howe's done for the club, all the years he's served, that got to see him go like that, but that's football. Arsenal, my prediction 3rd, reality 8th. I'm not alone on this prediction. A lot of people have had to give similar reasoning to me. I mean, they signed Pepe, so the front three, Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Pepe is quite good. And I know, like, David Luiz, like, you see him on the screen, like, from the Man City game, but David Luiz, like, no one joked about him back then as they do now. Like, it's not like they signed Van Dijk, but, I mean, people kind of just knew him as this solid center back that served his years for Chelsea, played for some European giants. So, yeah, I think Arsenal might have disappointed, but I think they are on the rise again. Arteta's done bits. One trophy in like 200 days. You know, that's really like vague statistic to look at. There's a lot of other things that happened besides that. It's just, I mean, all they gotta do, I just think, tend to the defense and they're good. They have the best youth in the Premier League, I think. Like, and by that I mean like all together in one team. Like Saka, Reece Nelson, Martinelli, the list goes on. So I think Arsenal are on the rise, unlike their North London rivals, which I will get to eventually. Aston Villa, my prediction 14th, reality 17th. The thing I find funny about Villa is in the video predicting it, I actually said things should go well unless they pull a Fulham. So, like Fulham, they spent over 100 mil in the transfer window, and that's all I took. I'm like, oh, that surely will bring them to be mid-table, but didn't really work out. I mean, almost went down. I still can't believe like they're in the Premier League. They're just in the relegation zone for so long. I mean, like next season, I'm gonna like be watching the Premier League and be like, I feel like there's so many times I'm like, wait, Aston Villa is still up. Just mad, really. A lot of people think it's because of the goal against Sheffield United, and I mean that is a fair argument, but I think you have to look at more than that. 37 of the match weeks, other stuff went on. Brighton, I'd like to apologize to the entire city of Brighton right now. Predicting them to go down was really harsh of me. I don't know why I thought that. Neil Maupay had a great season, and I mean Graham Potter, big ups to the man. Like I think Brighton are on the rise. I think they could be a mid-table team next season. They just signed Lallana. Coming from a Liverpool fan, I think he'll do bits on midfield. I really think he will. He's a very hard-working player. Lots of injuries, which is unfortunate, but I'm glad. 3-year deal. I'm really excited. Hopefully to see him in the Premier League for those 3 years. I really think they do. In Veltman, that's a massive signing. That's mad. I think Graham Potter, I like their other manager, I really do. I thought he was good, so when he got sacked, I'm like, is that really the right idea? I think that was one of, I don't think I trusted Graham Potter enough, and that's why I put him in the relegation zone for some reason. um, but yeah, looking back on it, if I could change one prediction after seeing all of them, some were quite dodgy, I think it would be the Brighton one, because Graham Potter, can't give him enough credit really. Mapai's doing bits for them. Lallana and then Veltman, Matt Ryan's already great, so they're gonna have these star players in all departments they can kind of build the team around. So I'm really excited to see Brighton next season. Burnley, my prediction 16th, reality 10th. I'm not gonna lie, I just didn't really look at them that much in depth. I kind of thought of them as a not even mid-table, kind of like beyond top 15 team. I kind of looked at them like a Newcastle, but they're much more than that. They're kind of like, as of now, they're kind of like pushing for Europa League. And I think the interesting thing about Burnley is, sure, like they're near Wolves and Sheffield United in the table, but things are kind of tight there. I mean, there's Sean Dyche and Mike Garlick have never been the best of mates, to say the least. And I mean, aging players, aging squad, tight transfer budget. Things could really start going wrong for them and go in a downward spiral really quickly if they don't sort things out with the board. Hi, so just sitting here editing this video, it would just feel wrong if I didn't give credit where credit is due. So what I just said about the whole Sean Dyche, Mike Garlick, all that stuff, there's this video that Visa made about it. As many of you probably know, he is a Burnley fan, and I do highly recommend that video if you kind of want to learn about what's going on in Turf Moor right now. It's a really interesting perspective. It's a really interesting video. I learned a lot, very knowledgeable, so I'll link it down in the description. So, I mean, predicting them in 16th, I don't think that was too, like, maybe that was a bit harsh on them, but for the future, I don't think that's very, like, unreasonable at all. Chelsea, my prediction, 6th, reality 4th. I just looked at this one way too concrete. I thought Frank Lampard, actually we'll come back to Frank Lampard. The obvious ones was the transfer ban, and they just lost Hazard. That was just the two big ones. No one thought Lampard would pull out what he did, and he's done bits with the youth academy. He really has. To qualify for the Champions League with just children, like that's mad. But yeah, I do have to give him credit. I think a lot of people picked them to be around Europa League too, so like, not trying to make excuses, but again, also Frank Lampard, like I said, we'll get back to him also. Maybe I thought he didn't have a ton of experience, but he did do well for Derby, and look at how they did this season without him. I mean, they were like a strong playoffs team. Like, people, I think they wouldn't have been too insane to think they had a shot in the playoffs last year, and they made it to the final, I believe. And I mean, they have Wayne Rooney now, so could they be on the rise? I don't know. But enough about Derby. This is a Premier League video. Crystal Palace, my prediction, 10th, reality 4th. This one isn't too bad, really, isn't. I mean, I have to think about 10th place. Sure, it's like the brink of where the top half meets the bottom half of the table, but like, it's not really Europa League. It's not really like fighting relegation. Just kind of and that's kind of Palace for you. I think they did the most Crystal Palace thing in the lockdown, the most Roy Hodgson thing in the lockdown. Not in the lockdown, after the lockdown. Sorry, after the restart. I mean, how they were off flying start. I remember watching their first game back against Bournemouth, and it was insane, really. And they were on real good form. Then just a few weeks later, they're down and out. So rapidly big transformation, also because where they were competing was really tight as well. Like, I mean, Europa League, I don't think Europa League did, but yeah, like Champions, I'm not saying they went for the Champions League relegation, and all went down to the final day. So besides the top, because Liverpool walked the league, because we're the best team in the world, the table is really tight. So there's just no room for error, really. So that's what went wrong there, I think. Everton, my prediction, 7th, reality 12th. Why did I have faith in Everton? This is on me. Like, in my defense, they had a good amount of signings, but they were typical Everton signings, because they're kind of players like, is it Alex Iwobi, for example? Like, people know his name, but like, is he, in the grand scheme of things, when you actually look at it, is he really gonna like bring a ton and do bits to the team? No, he's not. Moise Kean flopped hard. Moise Kean was sensational at Juventus, and he's just not his former self at all. I think his dad came out with a statement thinking he went to England too early, and I think that I agree with that. I mean, leaving your homeland, the league system you're familiar with, at a young age, it can really affect you. And I'm not like criticizing him for it. I'm just saying I think that could be a part of it. So I noticed that I kind of like waffled a lot here, as I usually do. Pretty much my main point is I just don't think Everton was a place for Moise Kean. The form he was at in the end of the 18-19 season, he deserved to stay at one of Europe's top clubs like Juventus, and maybe a move to like another top club. I just think I know if he stayed with a really strong youth system, world-class players, I think that could have really sorted him out. But whatever, we'll see him next season. I mean, I don't like Everton. I don't think they're a good team right now, but they did hire Carlo Ancelotti, of course. I'm not sure. He could just be out the door halfway through the season. I wouldn't really be surprised. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts bringing Everton on the rise. Because you look at what he's done. I mean, there's no reason why he shouldn't. He's given some young players chances in the first team, which isn't really difficult. It's Everton, but still, Premier League experience under your belt is always good. So I think they're Everton. It could go either way. Leicester, my prediction, 9th, reality 4th. A lot of people thought Leicester would break the Big Six mold of just Big Six teams coming in top 6. And I did not think that. I don't really know why I didn't think that. But, I mean, they have a good manager. They have a good attack. They have a good midfield. Maybe because they lost Slabhead, but that's really only reason why. And Kaglar Soyuncu has been outstanding, really. But he's a great player and all. I think he makes my Premier League team this season. Him and Van Dijk, possibly. But is he that one strong center back you want, or is he one of the players you bring in when you have another strong center back to build the team with? Is he a player you build a team around? I don't know. Like, if there's any Leicester fans, let me know. I genuinely I'm asking. Big ups to Jamie Vardy, oldest player to get the Premier League Golden Boot. I've always liked Jamie Vardy. Always had respect for him. Loved his kind of like poacher like mentality. So yeah, feel happy for him. Brendan Rodgers too, former Liverpool man. I mean, former manager. I kind of always like seeing him do well. So yeah, and now Liverpool. So of course I predicted them to win, and no one else did. I was watching, I think actually Stumpheg's reaction to the video, and she was saying how she thought like a lot of people wanted to put Liverpool, but they kind of just chickened out, and I agree with that. I watched a lot of predictions from big YouTubers, and they all just pick City, like, oh, they signed Rodri. It's like, you just have to think of it like, when it came down to one point, is Rodri going to be that difference? No. No, that's the answer you're looking for. No, I'm not gonna lie. I thought the title race would be much closer. As a Liverpool fan, I certainly enjoyed it this way. I liked that. I thought it'd be a little closer, but once we were off, I knew big things were happening. And yeah, what can I say? They've been great. And yeah, I think a lot of people kind of call me like cocky, delusional when I predicted them to come first, but hey, in the end, I was right. So I think that's why I kind of edged over a lot of other people that thought City would come first. Being a fan of the club, you look at it differently, and that's an interesting perspective. I mean, also, I think as a neutral fan, you can still throw them first. There was no reason why they couldn't. That was my main reason. Everyone's like, Liverpool can't win the league. I'm like, why? It was 1 point. Look at the squads. I mean, honestly, I know we don't make signings as much as Pep, but the other day this statistic was all over Instagram about how Pep spent like almost 350 mil on defenders, and Klopp spent somewhere near like 85 mil, and 75 of that was on Van Dijk. It's just the insane levels, and why I have lots of faith in Liverpool for this future. It's like, no disrespect to Pep, great manager. I do rate him as a manager, but he just buys a lot of players. He just throws money at every problem, and I mean, he can do that because he's ahead of Man City, and those give him all the money he wants. But that's not what I would want in my club. So, of course, over the moon with Liverpool right now. Man City, my prediction, second. Reality, second. Sure, they're a great team. They have world-class players in every department. They can compete in lots of consistently in World Cup competitions. They're one of Europe's biggest teams, but they're also pretty inconsistent in the league. They lost too many games left and right. I know they had a lot of injuries, but Liverpool did too. The only reason people say City had an injury crisis is because it actually took a toll on them. Liverpool just sucked it up and walked on. So yeah, got that one right. Second of the day. Man United, my prediction fifth, reality third. Usually fifth and third would be a big difference, but since it was so tight this year, I think I should cut myself a little slack. And you have Bruno there. I know people say he's a penalty merchant, and like I like to agree with that. But Bruno, I mean, he has been good. Just watching him play, he sets stuff up, he scores, and United have looked quite good since the restart, and even before that. And I know I'm a Liverpool fan, and they're rivals, but I am looking forward to Northwestern Derby being a little more competitive, because who wouldn't love that? I'm not saying like I'm not saying like they're gonna overtake Liverpool. I think it'll be a little more competitive, which is more exciting. That's all I'm saying. Newcastle, my prediction 15th, Raleigh 13th. Usually this wouldn't matter that much, but a lot of people had no faith in Steve Bruce whatsoever. I figured like, I mean, St. Maximin, big signing. Joelinton, not quite. I mean, he was a good, not quite. Like, didn't really achieve the standards Newcastle fans were hoping. But yeah, I predicted 15th, 13th. I mean, not bad at all. 15 is more like a checkpoint in the table, if that makes sense. You have like your top 15, you have like your top 10. So I'm just kind of predict them around that. Not bad at all. Norwich, my prediction 19th, Reality 20th. You think not much to talk about. They were off to a flying start, and I thought I got this wrong after watching them play Liverpool first match week, and then they beat Newcastle 3-1 after that. So, I mean, like everyone else, I thought Pookie got Golden Boot, Norwich were a good team, but no, Sheffield United were actually a surprise package. Speaking of the surprise package, 11 place difference. I mean, like, no one thought they would. Like, if you did, you're either lying or you were a delusional Sheffield United fan in the beginning. I remember, like, the first, when I watched them play, I think they played Bournemouth in the first match week. And just, like, I wasn't there, like, I was watching on TV. But you could just kind of tell there was this, like, feeling when the players were walking out, fans were holding banners out. There was just kind of this feeling, like, we made it. And we're all in this together. And we're, like, there were signs like we're on a journey. So it's not like they were even expecting to stay. I don't know if I can just like straight up say that, but I think it's fair to say they weren't expecting to like escape relegation by a landslide, and of course they achieved much more. So big ups to like them, big ups to Lord Lundstrom. So yeah, well done. Can that carry on next year? They've looked a bit weak past after the restart, Leicester and Sheffield, but I also don't think it's fair to judge players or clubs past the restart because there were just a lot of extraordinary circumstances in a lot of different ways for a lot of different players and a lot of different clubs, really. So I think you have to look at how they do early next season, first 5-10 weeks, because that's going to start reasonably normal times. I don't know if there'll be normal circumstances. I heard fans could be allowed in the stadiums in August, but that's really uncertain. Not August, in the fall, in like autumn. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, that's not like set in stone or anything right now. Southampton, probably one of the most disappointing predictions I've done. Right, not like ever, like I just made in this video. Southampton and Brighton, don't know why I had absolutely no confidence on the South Coast. 17th was a bit harsh. I mean, no one thought Danny Ings would like go off like that, and he was at him last season. But also, like, when you sign someone on a permanent signing, and when it's your boyhood club, I don't know if that could add an extra element to it. You could, or I could just be talking complete nonsense, but massive credit to Southampton. They're a very well organized team, where they have a really strong midfield. Defense is a bit kind of weaker compared to the rest of the departments, but I mean, Danny Ings has been brilliant. If he's going to continue that way, that'll be really good for the Saints. And Che Adams, too, scored that quite a good goal against Man City, if I must say so myself. And you just got Ward Pro, Samuel Højbjerg in the midfield, really strong central midfield. And then, yeah, I mean, honestly, I think a really well-organized team. And also, I think in the 17-18? I'm not sure. I think it was 17-18 season. They were in a little bit of a relegation fight, and I think that was around the time they lost Van Dijk. And I think a lot of people like, oh, they're down and out, they're done. just because they were in that relegation fight during that like one season. And you have to think of it like when you're a reasonably small club like Southampton, you don't have like that great expectations. You're only gonna make the headlines when you're in a relegation fight. Like no, like unless it's like local, no one's gonna care if you're a mid-table team. So I think a lot of people are really negative on Southampton. And after seeing this season, I will be looking at them with a more positive outlook, or I could look at them, predict them to go mid-table and they go down. I don't think that'll happen, but I mean, I guess it'll still could. Spurs next. I don't know why I was so confident in them. It's just, I mean, the thing is, I still think sacking Pochettino was the stupidest thing they could have possibly done. And I know, like, it shouldn't be news for you, but, like, the fact that Pochettino rebuilt a team with no money, like, with Daniel Levy not giving him anything to work with, and I know the players he rebuilt them with are kind of on their way out, and that's the thing. Why would you hire Mourinho? No discredit to Mourinho. He has a brilliant record, lots of trophies, probably considered to be one of the best managers, but Tottenham Hotspur are not for him right now. I feel like he's not really there for the rebuild. He's kind of there for the ride, there for the way out. Like, look where he was when he joined and left United. They're kind of like in their peak and they started to fall off under him. Like, I'm not saying he ruins every team he goes to, but I mean, the way his tactics are, he kind of could. And Pochettino, like, a new manager is not what they needed. Pochettino need to look at Daniel Levy and be like, come on, like, I need the resources. All he needed to do is rebuild the team again. I know it's a big task, and I'm not like, oh, you just have to rebuild a massive team again, but he just needed the resources. We knew he could do it. He's done it before. We've seen it. He just needed the resources. So it's on the board, really. They have good players. They're a reasonably big club just cause he built the stadium instead of investing in his squad. Like, I don't know. But hey, Spurs will be Spurs. Watford, nothing I can say here more than same as Bournemouth, really. Have a track record finishing mid-table. So I thought they would, and they didn't. And sWeAR is quite an exciting player. His name still brings back terrible memories. But he is a good player, so I think they do have some excitement. I mean, I always thought Bournemouth are going to bounce back. They have David Brooks. He's quite an exciting talent. They had good players all around until they lost Ake. Harry Wilson's gone. He's back at Liverpool. That was just a loan deal. That's lost Eddie Howe. That's like a kick in the teeth, really. Is that even an expression people use? I don't know. I'm making stuff up. We're near the end of the alphabet. So yeah, not much I can say. West Ham, my prediction 11th, reality 16th. They were in a bit of a relegation fight. That 3-2 win against Chelsea was big. Also their first game for Chelsea wearing the 3 shirts, and they lost 3-2. So, I mean, David Moyes, he recently said the difference between him at United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at United is that he had time, and David Moyes came and said all he does was win. He didn't really do that, but I think if West Ham give him time, he could. I don't think they're going to give him time because they're West Ham. Karen Brady literally came up with null and void, but I mean, they were on the ropes though in the end. Also, because I think of some of our star players, like, I think one of the big questions was, if they go down, will the likes of Felipe Anderson stick around to play championship football? Will the likes of Paulo Fornal stick around to play championship football? Like, Thomas Souček was a good signing. Did you know that Thomas Souček donated, well, it's not really his money, but, like, he made it so 10% of his transfer fee to West Ham went to his boyhood club, which was a 4th division Czech Republic team, and that's enough to fund their transfer budget for like 10 years. I think that's awesome, personally, but anyway, I think West Ham, they did disappoint this season, but I think they should be back up if they give David Moyes time, or he could just completely disappoint. I'm not sure, but I mean, they've been making good signings, good players. Jared Bowen too. I don't know why I haven't mentioned him yet, but West Ham do need youth, and he looks quite promising. Him and Declan Rice. I don't know if Declan Rice will stick around. I mean, if they're on the up, I don't see why he won't. Maybe become a club legend or just leave for Chelsea. I don't know if he would necessarily want to become a club legend, but whatever, he might. So between Rice and Bowen and Antonio and Souček, who have both been doing bits, Felipe Anderson, they do have a good squad, so I think they should be on the way up. Maybe this is a hiccup of a season. They did go through a lot. There were protests against the board. Pellegrini, I think the board put a bit too much faith in him, and he ended up disappointing. Wolves, my prediction 8th, Rally 7th. So this was really close. I figured, but then again, 8th and 7th, it's not just like if you predict 15 and 16. This is Europa League or not. I think maybe I should have put them higher. I think that. So I put Leicester 9th, Wolves 8th. That's interesting. I kind of thought that Wolves would be more likely to break the Big Six mold, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to. I mean, they did finish above Arsenal, so technically they did, but like more than one clubs broke the Big Six mold, which is really exciting to see actually. And yeah, Wolves have just Raul Jimenez has been to a flying start. I think they're real contenders to win the Europa League. Ruben Neves is great this season. They have youth too. Yeah, they just have a really good squad all around, so I think they're on this Europa League journey to stay. And Raul Jimenez has been great, but like the likes Juventus and United are interested in him. So they could keep him. He could kind of almost try to get them to a Champions League position. But if they could sell him, like to Juventus, because Juventus kind of like do need a bit of a revamp right now, I believe. So like, I don't know if he'd be the answer. I'm just talking like money. I know it's kind of like a terrible thing to say, like all he's done for the club just go from the money, but he could help bring in players in other positions, maybe squad upgrades if some players are getting older, kind of aging. So I don't know. All up in the air with Wolves, but I think the future at the Molineux is as bright as their pregame pyros. So just a final recap. Teams that impressed me, meaning I put them too low: Brighton, Burnley, Chelsea, Leicester, United. Sorry, had something in my throat. Newcastle, Sheffield United, Southampton, and Wolves. I was disappointed by as with teams that put too high: Bournemouth, Arsenal, Villa, Palace, Everton, Norwich, Spurs, and Watford and West Ham. Sorry, just something in my throat again. Crazy how just acts up right when I'm talking about my least favorite club. Biggest disappointments. Looking back on it, that's a bit harsh to put in writing right on the screen. But Bournemouth and Watford, minus 6 places. So put them 6 places too high. And I think it's funny because I predicted them one away from each other, and they finished one away from each other, so it's kind of like a perfect storm. And most impressed by Sheffield, that goes without saying. And actually, I got 2 correct. But I was correct about Liverpool and City, which is reasonable, which is kind of worth mentioning, but not a huge deal. It's just we won the league by like over 20 points, and we're also the champions of Europe and the world, and we're gonna win more trophies. Yeah, but not that big of a deal. So I hope you enjoyed me waffling for a lot longer than I had to, and just coming up with excuses of why I wasn't actually wrong. So yeah, see you in the next video.